Welcome back. I'm joined right now with Dougherty County School Superintendent Dr. Joshua Murfree. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so one thing, we have to dive right into it. Something that we've been looking at for years is an image issue with the Dougherty County school system. Some say it's reality, some say it's just perception. But on the news side of it, when we run, stories about Westover's decathlon team going to the state level or elementary schools doing amazing things on the state level, they always get overshadowed by other stories we have to run, be it the CRCT investigation or a school board member or a principal being involved potentially with free and school reduced program fraud. So how are you dealing with the school system's image issue right now?
We really don't focus on the distractors. We keep our focus on young people in terms of what we're doing. As you start talking about the decathlon team, I can think in mind the medical arts programs. We think about what we're trying to do to change that image so people actually know. But if you get distracted into all of that, and you have to take care of that, I don't worry about tomorrow, I deal with what's happening today. And that's what I try to get all of my employees to do. Focus on where we are, what we must do for children, because if you don't, you find yourself walking on eggshells. And as a leader, you can't have a district doing that when you start talking about 2,500 employees, 16,033 students. We've got to be about the business of educating young people, and that's how you deal with that image. How do we focus on testing? How do we focus on graduation rates? How do we focus on keeping people from dropping out, all of the goals? How do we get parents involved and the community involved? That's the major focus. That changes the image.
What do you tell your staff and all the teachers that work within the school system? Because inherently in the community, they are being asked questions about it. So I know you want to focus on the positive, but they are going to be asked questions about the negative. What are you telling them to deal with those issues?
What I always say, still go back to the children again. Tell people to get involved. Don't just get out there and hear noise, and when they hear the noise, stop the noise. Don't let the gossips just start running. Don't get involved with those kind of things. Stay focused in terms of what they're doing. In my district alone, and I say my district, but the board district as well, 98.46% of our teachers are highly qualified. See, they need to talk about their highly qualified as a teacher, what they're doing, how they got there, and so forth. Not just highly qualified, but also highly effective.
Two questions for you.
Okay.
You have a lot of accomplishments that you've been able to make within your little more than 2 years here, and then also some hurdles. Talk to me about both of those.
When you think about the accomplishments, again, you go back to the focus. When I came in, I had 17 goals, and I know that was out there, but when you start looking at what we were doing with transportation, what are we doing with graduation rates? What are we doing with first day means first day? We went from 75% from the first year to almost 86% the next year. And this year, we're hoping to look at where education is community. So August 6th is going to mean August the 6th. We want children there. And again, you always going to have distractors. You're always going to have naysayers. You're always going to have people not understanding. And this is what I say to people. People will always have opinions, but myself and the board, we have to make decisions. And the decision must be made as it relates to student achievement. Where are we taking these children to the next level? And that's what we have to think about. What best practice models are out there to help young people? So I don't get all of the other in my head. I know it's there, and people can talk, but I always tell them, come get involved and see what we're doing. Walk in our shoes for a day or two.
We're going to come back and talk about hurdles and other things with the Dougherty County school system right after the break, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, if you just missed it, you're not too late. I have live with me in Fox 31 Studios Dr. Joshua Murfree, who is the superintendent of the Dougherty County school system. We just finished talking about some accomplishments within the system. I have to be balanced and asked about the hurdles you guys are experiencing and trying to work through right now. Tell me a little bit about that.
When you think about some of the hurdles, and this is what I say to the board and also to the community, we've got to think about cohort rates. Too often people don't understand the difference between a cohort and a leverage rate. Say a year ago, if our graduation rate is 78.4%, when a cohort rate comes into play for the past 4 years, that means if 1,000 students come in as freshmen and say we lost 200, we're already down to 80% because it's calculated student by student. That's one hurdle we've got to deal with. The other hurdle we've got to deal with is this whole piece with House Resolution 1162. House Resolution 1162 simply says that if it passes in November, do you realize that any private charter can come into this district and actually open up a private school? That means people might move from the public school to the private, but one beautiful thing about that, if people don't move, the money still stays with us. But if they decide to move, the money follows, is what Arnie Duncan talks about. The money will follow the child. But if we do what's right in education, those are hurdles that we really won't have to deal with.
Okay. And what about the low graduation rate? You just mentioned it. However, it is something that we can say until it's 100%, it's not high enough. What are we doing right now to work? And I know we've just done a lot of stories about the potential charter academy. What's being done to help our students graduate at a higher rate?
Well, understand, there's a concept out there. We have to look at everything that we possibly can. I like virtual online schools. I also like traditional schools. There needs to be a combination. I also like charter schools. I know we're talking about a hurdle facility. To me, it's not about the facility, it's what we're able to give to children. If we're able to give the children the type of education and put them in the right place to learn, that will be fine. When you look at the concept, when you look at what a virtual school can do, what a charter school can do in terms of career, it controls for dropout. But at the same time, we have an alternative unlimited program for children who've already dropped out. That's key point. I don't want any issue to be political. I want the issues to be centered around education. Can we come to the table as a community? Can we come to the table as superintendent, as a board, and as staff as a whole, teachers and all, and say, is this best for children? It must be best for children. We have to get around how we feel about things rather than what must we do from not just 2012, from now to 2025.
So am I clear in saying that the reason you want multiple options such as virtual learning, a potential charter academy, career academy, and traditional schools is in order to help our students have options in order to help them not drop out? Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And we certainly need options because, you know, we're so traditional where someone stands up in front of a classroom and teach, but those days are gone. An online school, and I look at the homeschoolers that's at home now, there's a Georgia virtual school that has grown to a large capacity because they're handing students iPods and iPads. They're right there with them. We can do the same thing here in Dougherty County and the things of the sort. We have to think creatively and out of the box to be innovative in terms of what education is supposed to be in the 21st century. We've got to do that to make sure, as they talk about digital natives, well, I didn't come up with that word, Josh Spear did and Mark Prinsky, but they're exactly right. We have to meet young people where they are.
Right.
And if we meet young people where they are, then we engage those young people. Once they engage, they stick with us and they'll learn.
So at this point where we are with the Dougherty County school system, what specifically is it going to take to increase the graduation rates, to change the image? It is quite a hurdle if you step back and look at it. I know you're up for the job because you're in the job right now, so you have no choice but to do it. What specific things are you working on to change the Dougherty County school system?
Staying focused. We can't lose that focus again, and we got to know who that focus is all about. We have to inspect what we expect, whatever is there. If you lose the focus in terms of what you're doing and get distracted by something else, guess who you leave behind? You leave behind the children. I didn't come up with No Child Left Behind either, but still, it was very, very clear in terms of what's going on. Keep children on the right path. Make it simple enough that they understand what you're trying to do as an educational type unit here as a Dougherty County school system.
Okay, I want to end on one other thing that you guys may not know, but I do because I've worked with Dr. Murfree a lot. You don't hand out business cards, traditional business cards with your name, your title, your phone number, your fax. You hand out a little card with statistics on the Dougherty County school system instead of a business card. Why do you hand those out?
It's important because on the inside of all of this are my goals, my visions, my core belief, and I keep them with them.
It's got facts on both sides.
It's facts on both sides, and the beauty of both sides, it's never, see if it's even down, you still see the goals and objectives.
Yeah, zoom in on that right there if you can.
Okay.
That is good. Keep talking. Go ahead.
And while you're zooming, I have others in my pocket just in case I run into more than one person. But you look at the blog from the superintendent, you look at the mission, the vision, the core belief of the Dougherty County School Board, and then goals and objectives, because all of it's right there, and it talks about graduation rate, dropout rates, parental involvement, what we're planning on doing. All of it's right here on the card. And if someone says, I don't know the mission of the Dougherty County school system, undoubtedly they haven't been by to see us, and I keep it in my pocket from that standpoint. I'm not selling me, I'm selling the Dougherty County school system.
Okay.
And our new theme for this year is come to the Dougherty County school system where education is community, and we certainly need the community involved to make the Dougherty County school system successful.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for being a live guest on Fox 31.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I do believe this is the first time I have ever seen you in a tie and not a bow tie.
Well, this is dressed down. It's late at night, you all.
All right, thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.